Why are there not more people talking about the pros and cons of Donald Trump? Today, we're diving in headfirst to give you the full story. First up, the pros. Trump's economic policies, including tax cuts and deregulation, are often credited with boosting the economy and reducing unemployment rates before COVID-19 hit. His administration focused on creating a business-friendly environment, which many argue led to significant economic growth. The tax cuts, particularly the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, aimed to reduce the corporate tax rate and provide relief to individual taxpayers. This move was seen as a way to stimulate investment and job creation. He also signed the First Step Act, aiming to reform the criminal justice system by reducing sentences for nonviolent offenders and improving prison conditions. This bipartisan effort was praised for addressing issues of mass incarceration and providing opportunities for rehabilitation. The act included provisions for early release, job training, and educational programs for inmates, which supporters believe could help reduce recidivism rates. In foreign policy, Trump made headlines with the Abraham Accords and negotiations with North Korea. The Abraham Accords, which normalized relations between Israel and several Arab nations, were seen as a significant step towards peace in the Middle East. Meanwhile, Trump's meetings with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un were unprecedented, aiming to denuclearize the Korean peninsula. While the outcomes of these negotiations are still debated, they marked a shift in diplomatic approaches. And let's not forget his judicial appointments. 3 Supreme Court justices were confirmed during his tenure, reshaping the judicial landscape for years to come. These appointments, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, shifted the balance of the Supreme Court towards a more conservative stance, which could influence key legal decisions on issues like abortion, healthcare, and gun rights. Lastly, Trump's administration rolled back numerous regulations which supporters argue spurred business growth and innovation. By reducing regulatory burdens, the administration aimed to create a more favorable environment for businesses to thrive. This included rolling back environmental regulations, financial regulations, and labor protections, which proponents believe helped boost economic activity and job creation. Now let's flip the coin and look at the cons. Trump's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic faced heavy criticism, with many saying he downplayed the virus and mishandled the federal response. Critics argue that his administration's inconsistent messaging and delayed actions contributed to the severity of the pandemic in the United States. The lack of a coordinated national strategy, coupled with disputes over mask mandates and lockdown measures, led to widespread confusion and public health challenges. He was impeached twice, first for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, related to his dealings with Ukraine, where he was accused of soliciting foreign interference in the 2020 election. The second impeachment was for incitement of insurrection after the January 6th Capitol riot, where he was accused of encouraging his supporters to storm the Capitol building in an attempt to overturn the election results. Both impeachments were highly contentious and highlighted deep political divisions in the country. The events of January 6th were a significant and traumatic moment in American history, leading to deaths, injuries, and widespread condemnation. The aftermath saw increased security measures and a national conversation about political violence and the state of democracy in the United States. His rhetoric often stirred controversy and division, with inflammatory remarks on social media and at rallies. Trump's use of Twitter and other platforms to communicate directly with the public was unprecedented, but it also led to numerous controversies. His statements often sparked debates about free speech, misinformation, and the role of social media in politics. Critics argue that his rhetoric contributed to a polarized and divided nation. Trump's environmental policies, including withdrawing from the Paris Agreement, were met with backlash from environmentalists and scientists. The decision to leave the Paris Agreement, which aims to combat climate change by reducing greenhouse gas emissions, was seen as a step backward in global environmental efforts. Additionally, the administration's rollbacks of environmental protections and support for fossil fuel industries were criticized for prioritizing economic interests over environmental sustainability. And his strict immigration policies, like the travel ban and family separation at the border, sparked widespread protests and legal challenges. The travel ban, which targeted several predominantly Muslim countries, was criticized as discriminatory and faced numerous legal battles. The policy of separating families at the border, intended as a deterrent to illegal immigration, led to heartbreaking stories of children being separated from their parents and raised serious ethical and humanitarian concerns. So, that's a quick look at the pros and cons of Donald Trump's presidency. His tenure was marked by significant achievements and equally significant controversies, reflecting the deeply polarized nature of American politics. Supporters praise his economic policies, judicial appointments, and foreign policy initiatives, while critics highlight his handling of the pandemic, divisive rhetoric, and controversial policies. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more balanced political content. Your engagement helps us bring you more in-depth analysis and discussions on important political topics. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Stay informed and stay engaged with the political process. Your voice matters.